Kashmir may not be having SPCAs. So first of all, we need to begin from there. The SPCA, every district SPCA is headed by the collector of the district. So he is the head of the SPCA. And as you know, the collector is like the de facto ruler of any district. They have the powers and they are mandated to do all the work there. So he is the person who will be heading the SPCA also. And every SPCA, you will have animal activists and animal, welfareists. So who will be playing an important role in protecting animals in that particular district. Now, I understand that you may not be having any. From above the SPCAs, you have the State Animal Welfare Board. Again, State Animal Welfare Board is a mandatory organization. It is not something that the government can or cannot. The state government is not a decision of theirs that I want to have a State Animal Welfare Board or I don't want to have. It is mandated and it is compulsory that they have a board. This board will look upon the entire thing. Under this, the government department that you can approach is the Animal Husbandry Department. Animal Husbandry Department is in charge of all animal protection, animal laws. Okay, even they look into animal husbandry also, but they are the people. So you must approach the animal husbandry to ask about the, and write to the governor. Write to the governor. If you wish, I can send you the papers regarding the state animal welfare boards. And then we still have the Animal Welfare Board of India, which works from New Delhi.
Yes, ma'am.
So their office is in Gurgaon, but they work from New Delhi and they operate all over India. But today, the main powers have all been vested, not in the AWBI, but in the state animal welfare boards. So they are the important portion. You must push for a Kashmir State Animal Welfare Board. So this is a very important thing. Once this is done, you can actually, you can do both these things together simultaneously. Write to all the district collectors stating that, sir, this is the rule and you are supposed to be having a district SPCA. So we request you to kindly formulate the same. I will send you all the details. You could probably, Smriti, please pass on my email ID to her, to Sana, and you send it to me so that I can send you all the details.
So once you already approached the governor also, he has assured that they will start with it soon.
Wonderful.
Authorities they're very lazy. So we're hoping something will come up very soon. Inshallah.
I am very certain not something, a lot will happen under you guys. And anytime you need help, you must just pick up the phone and call us. Whatever we can do from here, we'll certainly do it. Okay? Okay. So we'll quickly come back here. So as I explained to Sana, for any kind of animal protection across the country, please remember the SPCAs are primarily, they are the ones who have the powers and they are the ones who are able to do it. Because just imagine if you have to work across the country, it's next to impossible. Earlier, AWI was sitting in Chennai. And if you had any problem anywhere across the country, we had to go to them. No doubt they used to respond. But then it takes a lot more time and they don't have effort to get anything done. Now it's no longer the case. Each state has an animal welfare board. Similarly, each district has a SPCA. So animal protection becomes so much more easier. Finally, what I want to tell you guys is remember one thing. The more we come out and demand for justice for animals and protection of animals, the more response you will see. Because in a democracy, democracies work like that. If you don't make your voice heard, nobody's bothered. And especially because animals don't have voting rights. Why should they do anything for animals? Anyway, so let's come back to this. How do we... So one very important thing, like I was mentioning to you, is the registration of a pet store. So if anyone sees a pet store, and if you just casually walk in, please see whether they have a registration certificate put up somewhere or not. Now, before going too much into this, I want to tell you something. Like I said that before you start any work, first of all, you write out your objective of doing something, taking some action in the animal protection field. Please mention clearly as to what do you want to achieve. Along with that, I always tell people that have a plan in mind. No, you're just walking somewhere, you'll see a pet store. Don't rush in there and say, where is your certificate? Hi, Anai, are you registered? Do you have this? Do you have that? I would always dissuade people from doing this, because end of the day, you may not achieve the result that you want to. What would your what is it that you would want to achieve? You would want to achieve a better life for the animals in there, because remember, again, I'm telling you, it is not illegal to sell pets in a pet store in this country. It is 100% legit. So you cannot walk in there and get anyone shut down immediately. There is a method to it and there is a procedure to it. So please be very cautious. If you see something, anyway, I understand there are about 20 of you in Coimbatore. Am I right? Somebody can switch on the microphone and tell me, please. Am I right? With Mini, 20 of you are there. Yes, Smriti, am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Around 20 to 25.
Yeah.
From...
Sorry, guys. I'm unable to unmute. So we have more than 25. It's not like 25. I said 25 people may be attending the call, but we have a lot of volunteers here in the city. And it's not like just 25. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, since so many of you are there, or actually, see, it's up to you. You guys decide who are the people who would like to do activism work. Activism work is something different from welfare work. Welfare work is taking care of animals in different places. It could be in your homes, in your shelters, anywhere else. Activism is on the streets, outside your homes, outside our comfort zones. If you are working there, first of all, you be organized. Decide how many of you would like to do this kind of work. Have a list. And whenever you see such a case come up, come back, meet up, whether it's, whether you meet physically or not, meet up, discuss, and decide as to what you guys want to do. Only after that, get into it. This is a very, very important thing I'm telling you. Please remember, because one failure will put you back 100 steps. You will feel, oh, this doesn't work. People just come and talk on webinars, but actually in the real world, it doesn't happen. So I want to tell you, it does happen. My colleague Joshi will share more experiences of ours here. He will tell you about it. But coming back to this, every pet store has to be registered with the State Animal Welfare Board. That is the most important requirement. After that, you have a lot of other things that they need to do. Right from, let us say, how they house their animals. Do they have them in cages? Do they have them in rooms? Do they have adequate sized cages for them? Are they being fed well? How many times a day they are being fed? Is there ventilation in the store? Are the animals exposed to each other? Are sick animals kept away? So these rules practically cover everything. What I would suggest, when Smriti shares the information with you, what you should be doing is, you should be reading up the act well. Like I said, there are mainly 18 points, which you don't need to buy heart. It's simple enough. It just covers all the things, from food, from their shelter, the way they are maintained, the way they are dealt with, the age of the animal before it can be put up for sale. You can't bring a 2-week or 1 or a 4-week puppy out there and put them to sale. So all these things are covered under the pet store rules. So if you veterinary care, again, a pet store is duty bound to make sure that all the animals in the store are getting veterinary care as and when required. That means, the initial vaccinations, and if any one of them is sick, they get somebody to come up and look after them. All these things. It is, again, a right of the animals at the store that they need to get all these things done. Now, besides, food, and besides these basic things, a pet store owner, very importantly, has to maintain a whole lot of records. He has to, like, procurement records. From where is he getting his puppies? Is he getting it from a registered breeder? Or is he just getting it from any, we would call, backyard breeder who just keeps 2 dogs or 4 dogs or 10 dogs tied up there? They breed. And what they do is at the earliest, when the puppies are barely 3 to 4 weeks old, they are sold to the pet stores. So are they those kind of pet stores which buy backyard breeders say, are they picking up their wear? So these are the records that they're supposed to be maintaining. Every single sale done. So whether it is sold to Mr. Joshi or whether it is sold to Smriti, what is their name, what is their full address, what are the details, everything they ought to be maintaining. They are even ought to be maintaining a record of deaths at the store. Has a death happened? If it has happened, why has the death happened? Was it some kind of a, let's say, I won't call it a pandemic, but then something which is contagious to other dogs? Is it because of that? Whatever the information, all this information every month has to go to the State Animal Welfare Board. So much so that if we are able to regulate the pet store trade as per the rules of 2018, you will by and large have a country which is doing this trade beautifully with no cruelty involved at all. But that's where the challenge is. Whether we will be able to regulate the pet store trade.
Richa is asking if you could repeat. Richa Raheja.
Okay. So from which point has Richa missed? Should I repeat?
The records that have to be maintained. I think.
Yeah. Okay. So every pet store is again mandatory for them to maintain certain records. So what are the records? Right from procurement. So from where are they procuring the puppies? Are they coming from a registered breeder? Are they coming from legit kind of sources? Where they are, how many, what is the age they have been procured at? How many pups have been procured? Have they been microchipped? This is some very beautiful rule that has come up in 2018 saying that every dog that is sold through a pet store has to be mandatorily microchipped. So what happens? Stealing of dogs, breeding of dogs, all this can be regulated through the microchip. So that is also one rule there. They are supposed to maintain rules. They are supposed to be maintaining records. What else? How many puppies have died? If at all, if there is a death there. Causes for death. If any of the pups or the adult dogs have been euthanized. If so, who has allowed this? Which veterinarian has asked for the euthanasia and who has done the euthanization? So all these things they are supposed to be maintaining records. And of course, if they're selling the puppy to a buyer, entire details of the buyer ought to be in the record book of the pet store. So again, I repeat, if we are able to regulate the puppy trade as per these rules, you will have a trade which is completely cruelty free. And it will be the best thing that can happen in this country. So the challenge here is how to regulate, how to ensure that we follow all the rules in this particular pet store rules of 2018. So I am not going into each point that the rules specify, like as to what should be the size. Let us say, suppose you are selling what? Selling guinea pigs. Okay, this particular pet store is selling guinea pigs. So what should be the size of the cage for a guinea pig? What is the kind of bedding you would give the animal? What is the food? How often do you give it? What is the kind of ventilation? What is the kind of, veterinary care that he would receive in case it is required? All these things are specified in the rule book. Without any doubt, everything, they've covered everything there. Now, let us say we have come across a pet store and you want to check. So, who is authorized to do an inspection? Does anyone know this? How can one do an inspection of a pet store? Anyway, I need a water break. So, any pet store can be inspected by someone authorized by the State Animal Welfare Board or from the Animal Husbandry or from the SPCA. someone who's got a written permission only can go for an inspection. But yes, you can always walk in as a customer. When you walk in as a customer, you can take a look, see what is happening, and see if there is something that you feel is not right, or something which the pet store owner ought to be doing but not doing. If you find any such things, you can make a list of those things and then come back to check. So how would you, if you find a pet store, or let us say if you find a pet store which is being cruel to its uh, animals. So mainly we were finding this during lockdown times. What was happening was people had animals in their stores. They just locked up and went away on the 22nd of March, thinking that, there was a single day lockdown. And then it turned out from 23rd, everything was locked up for 45 days. So during this period, there were some of the cases where people were not actually, they could apply for permission, get a pass, curfew pass, and then go around to the store. But there were people who were not doing that. That again, Mr. Joshi will explain to you where all these things were happening. We were able to go down and bring the animals out and send them to foster care. So these are the things that we can do. But if you find a pet store where you find things are not right and you want to take action, very quickly, what is it that you need to do before you start anything? So number one, like I mentioned, you have to plan. You have to plan, number one. Number two is you have to plan. Number three is also you have to plan. So planning is that important. Please come sit down and discuss about the entire thing and have a plan A and a plan B too. In case this doesn't work, what else can we do? Okay, have a plan A and a plan B. Then approach your state animal welfare board or the district animal welfare committee. Now in Coimbatore, you don't have your state animal welfare board sitting there because they are sitting in Chennai. So what you possibly could do is approach the Coimbatore would come under which district? Somebody please. Which district would Coimbatore come under?
Coimbatore is a district, Vasanthi.
In itself. Okay, lovely.
Yes.
So you have a Coimbatore, you have a district SPCA? Do you have?
No SPCA is there.
No SPCA in Coimbatore?
No.
Nowhere else in Tamil Nadu, or is it only in Coimbatore that you guys don't have?
Chennai has, but none of the other districts. Tirupur has. There are maybe one.
Okay, a handful. Only a handful.
Yes.
But have you ever approached the collector asking for a district SPCA?
Yes, many times.
Oh, he's not interested?
They are not they're long enough to, establish the SPCA again, revive the SPCA. SPCA existed many, many years ago, but so it doesn't function and it's not, operating anymore.
I'll tell you. See, those SPCAs that were operating many, many years ago are very different from the SPCAs envisaged now by the Animal Welfare Board.
Correct.
Because these SPCAs are mandatory and they have to be formed under the chairpersonship of a collector of a district.
Correct.
Not under private.
Correct.
So private, there were earlier days, we would form our own SPCA. I would call it SPCA of Hyderabad, or, you have the Thane SPCA. You have so many other SPCAs. But those are different from these. These are statutory bodies with lot of powers vested in them. Whereas none of us have. No PFA Hyderabad or no PFA Delhi also has any of these statutory powers, reposed in us. We have to go through a legal method to take some action. Whereas an SPCA on its own can do a lot of things.
True. So, Vasanthi, I'll just briefly explain to you what is happening in Coimbatore regarding SPCA. So, there were several attempts to, revive the SPCA, get it established, and collector, we have petitioned several times, and but nothing has really happened. So, there is no SPCA, as of now. That is the situation. Collectors come and go. And each time a new collector comes, the whole scenario, it is back to square one. We start off with the, meeting and talking about it, and it will go on for months together. And then no action happens. And then, every 2 years, the collector changes. So That is the situation. So the last 14 years that I have been here in the city, that has been happening. Yeah.
So two things I could suggest to you. One is you can move court. Because see, I'll tell you, even in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, we were not having SPCS. So there was a case filed against the government stating that how is it that you people we don't have SPCS when it is mandated that every district has to have an SPCA. How come we don't have it? So that is when the High Court took it very seriously. They pulled up both principal secretaries of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, which was earlier a single state called Andhra Pradesh. So they pulled them up and said, what the hell is happening? And they gave them certain time and they said, we want SPCAs, every district SPCA to be formed. So thankfully, because of that, the government woke out of its slumber and then they've started SPCAs in every district. Okay, but I agree that they're all not very active, nor are they doing, really good, great work. But still, we do have an SPCA. It's up to us to make sure that they work. So Coimbatore, you have one option is to go the court route or write to the State Animal Welfare Board and request them. Tell them that, you intervene on our behalf and you make sure that we have a district SPCA because that's what we need. So I'm sure, see, Chinni was mentioning, I don't know, the group, that the Tamil Nadu State Animal Welfare Board does respond. It's not that they are in a complete slumber. They do respond. So perhaps you should try that out. But anyway, if you have the district SPCA, it becomes easier. Other than that, also there's no problem. Go to the Animal Husbandry Department. Now, Animal Husbandry Department directly under the State Animal Welfare Board, they function together. So they are again duty bound to be taking up these activities. So what are they supposed to be doing? They are supposed to be getting all the pet stores in Coimbatore registered under the State Animal Welfare Board. So first of all, I would always suggest that you call all the pet store owners, have a meeting under the, let us say, either, the Animal Husbandry Department, the Animal Husbandry Director, under his auspices, have a meeting. Give them a talk about what the new law says and how they're supposed to run, and explain to them that, look, we are not gunning for your throats. We are only wanting to, implement the rules of this country in Coimbatore also. So let us follow the law, and it will be better for you, because once you become a store which is following the rules, I'm certain you will get more people coming to you to buy the puppies. So there's something that you need to tell them. So I think that is where you need to begin. If that is possible, that's the right way to do it. And I assure you that all the government guys will like the idea, because they hate it when we tell them that, oh, we are animal activists, so we are going tomorrow on a raid. I want help from you and from the police department. He'll say, no raiding. First you go, you counsel, all these things. So if you take the initiative and say, let's call for a meeting and talk to all the pet store owners together. If this is possible, that is the right way to do it. In that way, you'll make sure that every pet store is registered. And if somebody is not registered, you take the animal husbandry guys along with you, go for an inspection. And if they are not registered, what we need to do is the animal husbandry will issue a notice to the pet store guy saying that, how come you're not registered? So here is your notice. Within 30 days, you either get a registration done, or we will have to come back and seal your store. So this is what the law says. They are allowed to give them a notice, and within 30 days, if nothing is done by the pet store owner, then they have the authority to close down the store. Yes. So all these points are also mentioned in the law, right? But I'm telling you step by step as to how you can go about it. So first of all, you go for an inspection. But again, guys, remember.
So Vasanthi, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
So the issue here in Coimbatore is that all of these attempts have been made, So the problem is the people sitting in these position of power who have the right to actually do something, they don't have the initiative, or they don't feel that, this is something of importance to be done. And animal husbandry, they're least interested because they feel that, it will add to their work, which is there. And they actually keep on, bringing up excuses to not let it happen. So with a clear procedure, see, I know the procedure. I have been following up with, various ways in which somehow the revival can happen and a board can be formed. And in the board, there will be, of course, NGOs are there as part of the board, and also representation from various positions of power will be there. So actions can be taken, and fines and inspections and all of which SPC is very powerful. So
Yes.
we have been attempting to do this for a very long time with a lot of, I mean, we were unsuccessful completely. My point is there some other way, or is there some, slam dunk way in which it can force them to have it done? Is there anybody else who can be, um, what do you call, I mean, we need something above and beyond these state animal welfare also. SAW, the State Animal Welfare Board, it's in Chennai. We have written a letter clearly saying that, this district it is not functioning, and you have to intervene and make it happen. The press has reported many times. There have been a lot of cases where abuse have been reported, poisoning, and so many issues have been keep coming. But unfortunately, we have never made progress. Not a single.
So I have a question. So when you say for 14 years you've been trying to form the district SPCA, or are you talking about the State Animal Welfare Board? State Animal Welfare Board you have in Chennai.
No. State Animal Welfare Board is there in Chennai. That is not.
You are talking about the district SPCAs.
Yes.
Okay. Now when you say district SPCA,
yes.
Like I mentioned to you, the easiest route to take here would be through courts. Because this is not something we are giving a choice, or it is not something up to the state government or the administration and their whims and fancies. No, it's not that. It's a mandatory thing that they're supposed to be doing. And in a democracy, see, democracies across the world work like this. They do things that they like to do, and they don't do things that they don't like to do. So if you feel that they don't want to form an SPCA, simply move court. I tell you, within 6 months, even probably if you're lucky, it could be less than 6 months, you will have a ruling. And if the judge is a strong man, he'll pull up the government and ensure that, you have district SPCAs across the state. Not just
so when you say court,
you move high court, asking for all the SPCAs at one go, all the districts of Tamil Nadu.
All the districts.
Yes, you can ask because it's a mandatory thing. That's number one. Number two, I want to tell you. See, no government anywhere will willingly take on extra work. What is that? Okay. So no government would willingly take on additional work. And like I mentioned, when they see that animals have no voting rights, their interest in animal rights or animal welfare is not really paramount. It is always below. So it is up to us to be able to move people to find that one animal lover in government who could probably help us. Or, to find that one person in the collectorate who is able to move a few things here and there. It's a game that you need to keep playing every single day, to have those contacts, to build up those contacts, to get work done in the government. It is a challenge. I don't deny it at all. It is a challenge, but there is no other way to do it. Because see, remember, animal activism, or for that matter, any activism. You talk about, child rights activism. You think people or NGOs can do everything on their own? They can't. We have limited powers. We have, Smriti, there's a lot coming up on the chat box. I hope you're keeping a track, and do let me know as to what it is.
Yes.
So we need to work along with the government, along with the police, along with the judiciary. We cannot work independently. So there is no go. Whoever among you is interested, make another small group and just focus on working along with the government. Keep sending letters to them, tweet to them, do whatever. Whatever it takes. But you need to get things done through the government. Remember, every time we go on a raid or every time we go on an inspection, go for seizure, Mr. Joshi never goes alone. He will always take a government department along with him. It could be a civic body like our municipal corporation, or it could be the animal husbandry, or it could be the forest department, anti-poaching cell. It could be somebody. But we go along with the concerned government wing so that we have the authority and the security to be able to take the right action. You get what I'm saying? Hello? Are you there?
Mini, ma'am?
Mini,
Yes, I'm
yeah.
here. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah.
So I know you've been doing such great work in animal welfare, but we need to you need to, have mark out a few people to do only activism work. So their job is to make friends, make sure that we have the contact in the government, in the collectorate. And I tell you, Mini, I don't know, I have seen many a time in the government, when we do genuine work, you will find those 1 or 2 or 3 people who do respect the kind of work that we are doing and who are willing to help. So just try. But simpler thing is first get an SPCA formed. For that, you just move court. Probably you could do it from Chennai, everyone together. Maybe you all can file a single case and say, look, we want district SPCS in every district of Tamil Nadu. That will be the easiest thing and it will happen very soon. Yes, Smriti, anything for me in the chat box?
Yes, ma'am, there are a lot of queries. So Gargi is asking about the record of the buyer should also be maintained for all animals, fish, dog, cat, exotic animals, every.
Absolutely, absolutely. Every record of, procurement done. So if you have purchased a puppy from a breeder, you have purchased a kitten from somebody else or somebody else, all those records are supposed to be maintained. So including the person, the breeder's name, his address, his telephone number, and his registration number. Remember, every breeder also ought to be registered. Without registration, he is not supposed to be breeding any animals. So that also has to be done. Okay, having said this, one small caution that I would like to tell you is, so presently breeder rules, we are having some issues where people are challenging this in courts across the country. So we go very cautiously there. We step in there a little cautiously, but still the rules are very clear. They have to be maintaining all the records. So procurement records means procurement from anywhere. If they get an adult dog for selling, they need to tell us from where the dog was got. How was it a stolen dog? Did it have its owner? Why did the owners give up the dog? So many things. And all these records are supposed to be maintained. Yeah, Gargi, am I clear? Anything else?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This was the question why I asked, because once years back I took a Singapore like a turtle from one shop. Actually, I don't. Yeah, and I asked. Yeah. And I asked him that from where did you get and how many years old is each and every detail and what is the exact cost you are selling for.
Okay.
So but the shopkeeper, he did not tell me the exact things what I actually was expecting.
Okay.
So and at that time I was not knowing that where should I complain or what should I do. I just was like, I simply took it, I purchased it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are supposed to be maintaining all these records. And second thing, if it is wildlife, like, there was a time when, again, Mr. Joshi will tell you, but we seized how many starback?
70.
70 starback turtles were, seized, tortoises were seized from one pet store owner who was trying to, send them to Chennai. And we not only got them seized along with the wildlife department anti-poaching cell, he was fined 1 lakh rupees. So we tried our best to send him to jail also, but unfortunately it didn't work. But he was fined 1 lakh of rupees, which was a lot of money for this guy. So it does work. When things like this are happening and they don't maintain records and they're trying to do things with wildlife and stuff like that, you can really implement these things. So all these records are to be maintained. Okay. Anything else? Next thing, Smriti?
Priya Chetty ma'am has raised hand. Like,
Yeah.
I think she wants to ask something.
Yes, Priya.
It's from a very long time, I could say.
Yeah, Priya, please.
Hi. Listen, I'm
Hi.
sorry, I'm just jumping in, but one of the thank you
No
so much
issue.
for a very, very enlightening set of inputs, and it's so good to know that we are not alone. We are talking about something in Bangalore, which I think all of us are feeling in other cities, and I have no desire to sort of say we're together in our sorrows, but it's just good to know that we are, have common things to worry about. My specific
Absolutely.
questions were, and thank you again for that, but my specific question was that when we talk, when there's an issue that we need to go and address, and we at COVID time we certainly had that problem, of rabbits and cats and dogs that were just left for 15, 20 days. Um, the issue is we've taken ages to get the State Animal Welfare Board set up. The SPCA is not yet set up, but I do understand we can go with the Deputy Director Urban for the Animal Husbandry Department, who's de facto member secretary. We've understood those things.
State,
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I should get a PhD just for saying that, because it's taken us for so long to understand how it works. But I find that because of the husbandry background, they seem to be doing things like if they seem to be wanting to give time, give them another chance, whereas animal welfareists tend to want to uh, take penal or penalties quickly, saying shut it down, give them a notice, etc. So this is an issue where we don't have a clear directive from the police. The police commissioner has changed. We don't know the current person, but there we could have a collective police action that all the station house officers are aware in that area what is to be done. The person we're going with, who do we go with who has the ability to instill some amount of fear? And the pet shop owners, when you talk about a certificate, I'll tell you where we're getting really stuck. The local civic authority says it's not our job to give a license because it's KAW, that is Karnataka Animal Welfare Board job to give a license, not ours. But if you ask the Animal Welfare Board, they say that, hey, they need a business license, and you should ask BBMP, who's our civic board, to get the license. So we get stuck between these two, and bureaucracy, they have been great. Bangalore has been absolutely great to us. But in terms of new KAWB, they're so busy being swamped with the lack of knowledge they have about it, what they're supposed to do, that they're just passing the buck one to the other. And it's impossible for us because we have limited time. We don't have any full-time people, but things need to be done. And if we don't have that first penal attitude, that go there and make a stink and create an issue and then step away, nobody's going to take us seriously.
Okay. Now, Priya, I first of all, I want to tell you that I agree with everything that you said. So this is a story not just in Bangalore, but it's across the country. Every animal activist or animal activist groups face the same problem. But let me ask you one question. So in this particular case, what exactly, when I'm saying case, I'm talking about, let's say, pet stores. What exactly would you like to do? I mean, what is it? Ideally, if suppose you had a free hand, what is it that you would like to do?
I would like to shut it down, and I would like to fill it with indie. Yeah, I'd like to fill it with indie dogs. But I know that's stupid, and I know that's not correct. But I would like the following. The pet shop rules are so exhaustive, right? What is supposed to be done, the size of space, the food that is available, the veterinary care, the record keeping. There is nothing. There is next to nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that, that we would like really, really to sort of shut it down if we could. But that's not reality. That's not practical. The law allows it. But at least within the rules, neither do they know what the rules are, nor is there somebody to implement it. They don't look at us seriously as an agency or someone who can implement or even define a framework. So who does it? Unless there's I loved what you said about, why don't we have a meeting with pet shop and address it all together? I know that Neha has done it with the breeding part of it. So these are great measures, but we need to have some kind of common directive. So my suggestion is there or not? If you look at the State Animal Welfare Board, we are all trying to do it for Karnataka. I tried to do it for, once again, 3-4 times. Finally, I said, everybody's got to do the State Animal Welfare Board. Why are we individually fighting? Why can't there be a single directive from center which says, hello, where is your state animal welfare board? Or where is your SPCAs? And hold them to account, just like they did the last time, where they said, if you don't do it, the chief secretary is responsible. Otherwise, people like you and me who could go save animals, do advocacy, are stuck with stupid day-to-day petty stuff that are not required. And that's my point of view. I want the single turn of key that allows single large sweeping changes to be possible. I don't care how dreamy I sound or how recklessly like a large framework I sound, but that's what is needed. And I believe our energies are better spent on that. Otherwise, we are just how we sound as animal welfareists. We sound like we're crying all the time. We sound like we're begging all the time. We sound unintelligent because we don't know. They think they don't know what we're talking about. And it's very, very scary. These people have to learn to understand that we have the law on our side. Our laws are the best, some of the best in the world.
Absolutely. You said it. It's about the implementation part.
Yeah.
So Priya, I can see the frustration. All I want to tell you is, first of all, don't be in a frustrated state of mind. Like you mentioned yourself, we have some of the best laws in the world protecting animals. That means somewhere we have our hearts and minds in the right place. Now, when it comes to implementation, there are many, many challenges. But then I always tell people, look, the challenge is not just about animal rights. It's everywhere, right from child rights, women's rights, or men's rights, or whatever they may be. Everywhere, when you have a good law, implementing is a challenge. Okay, so let's not, first of all, be in that space. I'm always happy with the fact that, look, such a thing has happened. And when there is a challenge, we need to find a way around it. Now, when you say the center has to pass something to make the states work, I think under the federal structure, that's not very practical, because once the state animal welfare boards have been formed, they're all being formed under the state governments. They don't have anything much to do with the center. In fact, even the Animal Welfare Board of India, New Delhi, also cannot per se dictate to the state animal welfare boards. No, sorry, it can't be done that way.
Understood.
But yeah, what like you said, for everything, for instance, for implementing the pet store rules, I'm a very practical person. Priya, so many cases we've seen, so much of suffering and pain of animals we have seen. I feel at the end of the day, the easiest method is to take everyone along. That is even the pet store guys. Number one, don't look at them as, what would I say? Animal, sorry?
Public enemy number one.
What I'm saying is, don't look at them as if they are, they are animal abusers per se. Maybe not all of them are. Nobody's ever told them that, look, you cannot keep up little puppies locked up in a cage. Yeah, I agree. That's common sense. And when you look at a puppy in a cage, we immediately empathize. But not all people are like you and me. But I find the easiest and simplest thing to do here is to call for a meeting and take them along with you. And believe me, when you say, let's call for a meeting for Bangalore or for Coimbatore and call all the pet store owners and let us work like this, the government guy is very happy. He's very happy because he is duty bound to do that. Whatever you and I may say and whatever the law may say, the law never says that you take any action without giving the other side a chance. So again, we are supposed to be giving them a time frame of anywhere between 30 to 60 days, minimum 30 days, and about maximum up to 60 days. You can't even go and say immediately start fining them, seize all the animals. No. One thing you can do is, if the puppies you feel are not in comfortable position or the law is being violated, giving them another notice saying that, look, these are not the conditions that you're supposed to be maintaining your animals under, and go back there after a week. After a week also, if you find the animals distressed, then you have a right to ask for a sealing of the store. You do have. But most cases, what happens, I will tell you, the pet store owner will immediately come forward and say, no, ma'am, we are going to listen to you. We'll do all those things. Now, how much is he going to implement is a question, but nobody will ever fight with you saying, look, it's my dogs, they're my cats, I'll do what I want with them. Because they know the law. It doesn't happen like that. So somehow, anyway, my experience tells me it is simpler, easier, and far better for the animals to work along with people. Take even the pet store owners with you, take the breeders with you. That is much more helpful. Anyway, that's an opinion. We could discuss this Smriti, any more questions?
Ma'am, I think we are running out of time. I think we should also start with
Okay.
Mr. Joshi and
yes. He has to tell you about what we've done here otherwise.
Yes.
And 1 second before he starts. So there's one more thing I wanted to tell you. When you go to these stores to, per se, you can't go as an inspector because you can't inspect a store on your own. But go there and look around, make notes, write out the points of cruelty and click a few pictures discreetly if you can. Do that and then come out to take action. Right? So in worst cases, you can go to the police and say, we are filing a case. This can be done under which section, Joshiji will tell you. He can do that also. So what the law says, because frankly, 1 second. Yeah. So frankly speaking, the cops, depending on the case, they will support you. I've seen many a time they hand over the dogs to us. And then we need to be ready with foster care, with planning, so that when somebody hands over 20 animals to you, you should have a place to take them to. Remember, you cannot take them to the animal shelters. They all die there because these are all pedigree dogs and they can't stand our shelters. Okay. So, Joshi garu, would you like to tell them about a few things? Adenduku mask enduku ikkada manake kada. So, Mr. Joshi has been my colleague for more than 20 years, doing only implementation. He looks very calm and he may not look very aggressive, but he's done some remarkable work during his time.
Good evening, namaste, vanakkam.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, Smriti, please
yes,
give him some feedback.
Can you hear me?
We can. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. So my name is Joshi. I'm working with PFA since last 2 decades with Vasanthi ma'am and implementing just under PCA Act. So animals, who are abusing animals. So we are taking help police, JHMC, and if selling, illegal selling wildlife department.
Tell them about any particular case that you've done.
Yeah.
What are you comfortable?
I will tell you in about 2 cases. One is breeding case and another one is wildlife case. Okay, in the 2016-17, so we seized around 70 starbags, which are going, for smuggling from Hyderabad to Chennai in the morning train 6 o'clock. So we got news early in the morning 5 o'clock. We alerted our volunteers, so and as well as local police and forest department. We made we rushed to this place and caught red-handedly in the person who is transporting from Hyderabad to Secunderabad. In Hyderabad, twin cities. We have twin cities, Hyderabad and Secunderabad. In Secunderabad station, so forest department has seized 70 starback, arrested the person and compounded him 1 lakh rupees. Now, secondly, in breeding case, in the last year, in 2019, in the January, we seized 63 animals, dogs and birds. So, person, who is a backyard, Madam just said, Madam, backyard breeder. So he kept in, like a, saying what we can say, some slum area, some slum area. He's running without any license, without any, record. So we simply visited and saw this, stunning, how he kept his small cages, and sick and injured. So immediately we alerted GHMC and local police. With the help of local GHMC, we rescued the animals. Second day, we lodged a complaint against him, and he has accepted in the local court guilty. And animals and birds, we given adoption, So with the help of our volunteers, this kind of, we have experience. So breeder and wildlife Protection Act. And other than in COVID, we have even market in Hyderabad, an old market. So that is this Murgi Chowk, bird market. So period of March, April, so all they closed down and closed down. The moment closed down, and some of our volunteers observed that so birds are suffering, for food and for food and water. So immediately we rushed to the spot, and with the help of local authority, so we made an MTB.
Who is the local authority who helped you?
GHMC means municipal.
The municipal corporation.
Municipal corporation, local municipal. We have is the 5 zones: east, west, north, central, and south. It is coming under South Zone. South Zone, we met South Zone deputy commissioner. He helped us to remove all birds and so animals and give an adoption. Now made an empty. So after that, Central Zone. Next, after 8 days, one more shops we closed down. So under COVID. So again we removed all birds and all 6 puppies, only 6 puppies, and given to the adoption.
Because they came under the same act.
Yeah,
where they were supposed to be registered.
So
they were unregistered stores.
Yeah. Unregistered and
cruelty was
violation is the prevention of cruelty. 1960. There's no water there, no ventilation there. No fan there. Totally. So no food there, proper food there.
So Joshi Garu, did you all give any notice to that fellow there?
No. It is because it is the emergency.
It is an emergency
in COVID period. So all municipal has understand, deputy commissioner has understand situation, and he sent immediate squad with us, and we rescued all animals and birds, and he's given us custody, and we after the 8 days we given a adoption.
So please understand this, guys, that in case of an emergency, you can request or demand with the police saying that, look, this is an emergency situation, and if we don't act, the animals are likely to die. So in these situations, they are seized immediately. So all the cases Joshi is telling you, he is saying that he's gone there with the help of the local authorities. When you say local authorities, the government and the police, it could be the animal husbandry. This particular case, it was the animal husbandry who came along with us, along with the police. So it becomes simpler when you go with the authorities, because then, you don't get into street fights with the, the pet store owners or the breeders or whoever it may be. Yeah.
No one will understand. No one will understand it. No one will get our points. We have to only approach local authority with the help of either municipal civic bodies or police or animal husbandry or state animal welfare board. Then you can do something for animals.
Okay. Second thing I want to tell you very quickly, Smriti, that when you go to a police station, I'm sure many of you would have the experience, but please go well prepared to meet a cop. Go there with information. Okay. No emotions. Cops don't understand emotions about animals. If we go there and we cry about the puppies in a cage, they'll just say these people are mad. You know how animal activists are. So please go there along with solid proof, that is photographs. Go there with all the information. Go with your ID card. Go with the law and file and go with a written complaint. Don't go and talk all this to the cop. Just go and give him a written complaint saying, sir, this is the thing that is happening there. And under the law, under this section, we want you to take action. So this is how you go to file an FIR. If any one of you has a problem about wondering under which section you're supposed to be filing a FIR, or if there are any such issues, you're most welcome to call one of us. We can guide you there. Or maybe in Chennai, or also I'm sure in Bangalore, there are many people who will be able to help you. But you're most welcome. You can approach us. So whether it's under the Prevention of Cruelty Act, we do a mix of cases. You go under the Prevention of Cruelty Act, you go under the IPC, and you go under the CPC if required. Go whatever. Try and put in as many cases as possible against the accused so that your case is stronger. So go to the police, file a case, ask for exactly what you want. If you say, look, I want you to come there to seize this animal, you please be clear about it. Go there with proof.
Even look in FIR, first information report. FIR means first information report. Then you are going to police station, file first introduction yourself along with ID cards. please be associated with any PFA, like, Karuna, something, one organization, and keep on ID card. Without ID card, nobody will recognize you as a GHMC, municipal, or police, or anyone in emergency. So we write a complaint, introduction yourself. I am so-and-so activist, working with the Karuna, working with FIAPO, working with PFA, working with so-and-so the last 5 years, 10 years. So we came to know, we heard about something so-and-so, they are violating going. It is clearly unacceptable, unconstitutional, and it is clearly violation of section so-and-so, ABC, under PC Act, so-and-so. Please inquire the all matter and take suitable action against the offender. It has to clear. Then he will understand, so what happening there. Then cops will come with you, he will inspect. If he feel it is really going wrong there, so he will definitely seize the animals. He will definitely say, he will give you. If normal things, they will give a notice and he will correct.
So when you go along with the cops and seize an animal, who will be handed over to you officially by the police, then it becomes legal even in courts. Otherwise, there is a method. You can't simply go and seize anybody's animal. Even if it's under extreme cruelty, you're not supposed to be going on your own to seize any animal. So please remember, we are supposed to be doing this as per procedure. Cognizable and
don't be emotional, even though in breeder, you're violating something act, and even the pet shops, something find you sick and injured animals. Just you observe, immediate come out and call to the local authority. Keep police control room in any district. Every district have a police control room, and time to time you maintain the record. Municipal authority, even the SP mean Superintendent of Police. So keep you all contact numbers. Sometimes in emergency.
Yes. See, this is very, very important, guys. You should be having the telephone numbers, email IDs, names of all the important people in your community. So if your community is the entire city of Coimbatore, you keep it for entire city of Coimbatore. If it is in Bangalore, whichever part of Bangalore you live in, because if there is an offense happening somewhere there, you ought to know who will be able to help you. So that's a very important thing. If you're able to reach out to the young DCP, see, DCPs in any city are young people only, because they are all young IPS officers, and they are mostly very prone to helping. They look at the case. If they feel if there's a just case there, they come and help you. We've seen so many cases, so many times. It's the DCP who comes forward to help. So please keep all these details with you. Cognizable and non-cognizable also will cover.
So cognizable means cognizable and non-cognizable. So
offenses, all offenses.
All offenses and some coming cognizable and non-cognizable. Cognizable police can go above constable rank, sub SI, like SI means sub-inspector, go can seize and inquire and seize the animals, and he have power to seize the animals if you find. So on our complaint, really they're suffering at animals. Non-cognizable mean small thing, first section A, 11 Prevention of Cruelty Act 1960, section A, beating, kicking, something nuisance. These are non-cognizable. Even if you are on complaint, he has to take nearest judge, first class magistrate judge, second class magistrate judge power permission for further action. So non-cognizable mean he has to take permission from the nearest judge. Cognizable mean, so this if you feel serious or killing, section 11(1)(L), section A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, up to K, non-cognizable offense in PC Act. L is mutilate, killing, killing unreasonably suffering any animals, mutilating. So animals, it is section 11(1)(L) is cognizable offense. First, all of you, download in these days, you can download your mobile. Daily go through in PC Act. Daily read first Prevention of Cruelty Animal 1960. It is most useful for you, all of you.
So everyone who is interested in doing activism work for prevention of cruelty to animals, Mr. Joshi's suggestion is please read the PC Act thoroughly. You should know.
First you read.
So then you will be able to talk to anybody, whether it's a cop or a lawyer or ordinary citizens.
This is section C, section L. So it is violation.
So one more thing, what he's saying, most offenses of animals comes under non-cognizable. They are not cognizable. where the police can immediately take action. But still, so don't be discouraged with that. Lot of things can be done even with the present law. So similarly, there are bailable and non-bailable offenses. Chaptava?
Yeah. So bailable means offense shown as a bailable is the first schedule which is made bailable any other laws for the time being force. They are regards less, give the lesser grace. Bailable mean it is, small things. Small things like I said, nuisance, like under PC Act also. If they seize the animals, after seize the animals, even the breeding also, Prevention of Cruelty Act 1960, it is a bailable offense. So like a murder, the kind of serious offense or non-bailable offense. Like a Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972, 1972, in tiger, lion, panther, bear. Those are non-bailable offense. Even Schedule 2 also bailable offense. So that's what, whenever you're having a time, please take out your daily half an hour, 1 hour time. So Wildlife Act and PC Act, most PC Act. So read out and understand, and you can explain police or forest department, this is so and so. Then you can do something. Without knowledge, without PC Act knowledge, you can't do anything, because simply police will fool you. Okay, I will do. So my request is go through first PC Act.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, Joshi sir.
Yes.
So, Mr. Prakash Sasha is saying that we need to inform about the important legal IPC section 511.
You want to know about 511?
Yeah, and he's 511.
Yeah,
and
hello.
he's also yes, sir. Prakash sir.
Yeah, I think everybody is able to hear me. See, many sections in the PC Acts are very weak. It's having just 50 rupees fine or something like that. But IPC section 429 has 5 years imprisonment for killing an animal. But the biggest problem is we can take action only after the animal is being killed. Now, if some animal is being tortured and we want to rescue the animal, I found out a new section by discussing with various lawyers. This is section 511, which is saying even if somebody is making an attempt to do a crime, which is described in IPC, they are punishable with the 50% of the original, whatever the law says. If the IPC 429 says 5 years, then an attempt to make an animal suffer or kill or whatever it may be, can be, that person can be punished with the 50% of the original punishment, that is 2.5 years. So many people don't know this 511. They just go and see 429. Okay, when the animal is killed, after the killing, then there is no point in giving justice to the
What is the point?
There is no point in giving justice to the animal.
Absolutely.
So many places they torture the animals, they keep them in a very filthy condition, they don't feed the animals, and so many problems. So this 511, nobody knows. I have spoken to many people, nobody knows about this. This is saying, even if somebody is making an attempt to do a crime which is described in IPC, whichever section of IPC, even that is a punishable offense with 50% punishment.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prakash Garu. Thank you for sharing this. We will also discuss with our lawyers.
Sure.
Even though FIAPO and Menka ma'am is, want to implement more laws, more IPCs, like a human being, human harassment, it is, some kind of IPCs want to involve, like recently their sexual abuse, 377, 379, so it is converted into animal also. Last 5 years back, it is we found only, for human being. It was converted into animal also. Now, in sexual harassment of animal, it is same punishment as a human being. How court are giving punishment to human being?
No, because we heard of cases of rape of animals also, for heaven's sake. So these sort of cases can be fought. So it's law is always an evolving thing. It's not it's not fixed as such. It's always evolving as per society and as per what is happening around us. So once the judges understand that, interpretations are always changing. Okay. Any other questions, Smriti?
Ma'am, so I think now also we need to wind up. So we can ask people to raise questions, and they can ask question one by one. We can take a few questions because it's already been 1.5 hours, like almost 1.5 hours.
Yeah. We went overboard.
No, but it was no. It was really good though. But yeah.
Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So go ahead. My only request is please switch on your videos when you're asking the questions so we can look at each other.
Yeah, so we can take questions now. We can start taking questions.
Sure.
Yeah,
go right on.
Right. So requesting everyone, if they want to ask questions, please switch on your videos and then please go ahead. Okay. So I've written down a few questions, ma'am.
Yeah, please. Go right.
I think we'll so I think this was by Priya Shetty, ma'am. She asked about how does local civic authority, SPCA, SAWB, and police come together on pet shops? Most of them are trying to pass the book. So I think you discussed.
I answered.
Yes,
we discussed that.
Yes, we discussed it. So then Richa Rahija asked that regardless of finding and reporting people for any act, they still let go with barely any fine and sometimes not even that. How can we go about this?
Sorry, I didn't get that. During lockdown, what was it?
Regardless of finding and reporting people for any act, for any crime, for any
any crime,
for
any
offense.
Act,
any offense. So they still let go with barely any fine and sometimes not even that. So the offenders do not.
Yeah, unless you tell me specifically about any one particular incident, I really don't know. So there are always people, there are always police who would like to avoid, filing an FIR and taking action on cases which they feel is a waste of time because there are people there with different viewpoints. So unless you tell me that, I can't specifically answer on this. While you think about that, maybe any other questions you could tell us?
Yeah, Richa, if she's there, I don't know. Okay, somebody asked that what is the right action to take when we see pets being treated cruelly by their family? Family, yeah.
Yes, by their family. This is a very, very important, interesting, and most often this is something that we face. So we receive cruelty complaints for PFA Hyderabad, and I think weekly at least 3 to 4 pet abuse cases is something that we receive. So as per I'll tell you two things. Okay, what the law says. Second is what is a practical solution that we can find to this problem. Now, when you say if you find somebody who's ill-treating his pet, under the Prevention of Cruelty Act, 11, Section 11, it's 11 and A, 11A, it says, beats, kicks, overrides, overdrives, overloads, tortures, or otherwise treats any animal so as to subject it to unnecessary pain or suffering, or causes or being the owner permits any animals to be so treated, it is an offense under Prevention of Cruelty Act. Okay, so under the law, you can be very sure that it is illegal. But then what do you do about it? So what I've seen is mostly in the pet abuse cases, one is they're being tied up unnecessarily. Second thing is, in some rare cases, they're even being beaten up. I don't say beaten up is a very common thing. We don't hear of it every time. But very often it is being tied up, it is being uncared for, no walks, not much of interaction with the family, this kind of a complaint. So at the risk of sounding like a pacifist in front of a whole lot of animal rights activists, let me admit, I'm the first one. I always say, if your neighbor is doing this, first of all, go and make friends with your neighbor. If you're already not one, please go and make friends with them and offer to take their dog out for a walk. So why I say this is, in most of the cases, when animals are being abused, see, the law again is very unclear when it comes to seizing an animal away from its owner. Only in extreme cases, you will be permitted to take away an animal from its owner, be it a dog, be it a cat or a cattle or whatever it may be. Only in extreme of cases, when you are able to prove beyond doubt that they've been tortured or there's been a lot of abuse. Otherwise, it's not done like that. So instead of fighting with your neighbor who will never allow you into his house again, first of all, try and make friends with them and see if you can improve the life of the animal. See, again, I'm repeating myself. When you see an animal in distress, stop to think and plan for the animal. What is it that you can do to improve the life of that animal? If you can remove the entire abuse or the pain or whatever, whatever is causing discomfort to the animal, if you can remove it in full, nothing like it. That's the best solution. But if you are not, what can you do to improve its life? So think about it and then act. Believe me, each and everyone will come out of completely out of the box solutions. So I know somebody who becomes such good friends with his neighbor that he used to bring the neighbor's dog to his own house, made friends, and the dog became, I mean, somehow the owners also, the bonding with their own dog improved after this Rajgopal's interaction with their own dog. Somewhere it changed something for them. Now, I'm not being idealistic. I'm not being, how would you say, I'm trying to be very practical because that's the easiest thing to do. Remember, animals are the most vulnerable in our society. They cannot complain. They have no voice to complain. If today you go and make a ruckus with your neighbor and say, oh, you're abusing your dog and I'm going to file a case against you. For all you know, this guy, he might just take the dog and go and give him away to his driver, saying that you take the dog away, I'm getting into trouble with people because of my dog. Is that what we were looking for? From removing from the, what would you say, from the frying pan into the fire. So that's not what we were looking for. So please think, please plan, please see, put yourselves in the animal's place and look for a better life for the animal. Then act. Because unfortunately, most of our laws, like we discussed just now, most of them are without teeth. So you have to use the law to scare people and most of the time get your work done, which is possible. We do this all the time. Yes, Smriti.
Adding one more point here, we have successfully printed a guidebook with color photographs on how to maintain a pet animal. And we have done a lot of counselings to many people and they've changed their attitude towards pets because of the guidebook. I can send the guidebook to Smriti of Piapo so she can share it.
It can be shared.
Yes, sure.
That will be great.
Yes.
That will be great. Absolutely.
Yeah, the guidebook with detailed pictures and how to treat an animal and everything.
This is great.
This is Mr. Prakash, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Mr. Prakash, what is it that you do? You have a separate organization or are you part of?
No. I run my own charity called Elsa Foundation.
Health of? Elsa. Okay. And
so I run my own charity.
Okay. And what is the work that Elsa does?
So we focus a lot on advocacy work and court cases for wildlife as well as domestic animals.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, Smriti.
Smriti, I had a question.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yes,
Smriti, Vasanti, this is Saurabh from Mumbai.
Hello, Saurabh.
Hi. This is from Mumbai Animal Association. We have a small NGO out here. Now, I just mentioned that we have close to 25 NGOs in Mumbai city. We can easily cover up most of the pet shops with if we take all of them together. Now, Shakuntala Munda from Sana SPC, I tried this out last time, but bonding together was a bit difficult. But now with FIAPO around, we can give guidelines to the NGOs on what to check for or what is to be worked on, and a small step can be started off. In fact, they had worked on getting a list of pet shops also, so that you have a guideline and a guidebook given to NGOs too, because they have volunteers who can do this activity on a small level. And this can be taken up to the next step once pet shop rules are put in place. Second thing that I was looking at was having your, like you rightly said about pets not being looked after properly, or maybe they are being thrown out. The issue there is that this is something like a husband and wife family case. If this finally doesn't work out, a divorce has to be brought in, and the both parties have to pay for it.
Absolutely.
He definitely can bring in the owner to look after the dog properly, and if he's not able to do it, he has to hand it over and he has to pay the fine for it. Now, this can be managed if we have the pet shop data collected. Easily started as a theory, I know, but not practically possible yet. If we get the list of owners or pets given out, NGOs can go and look up maybe for the next 6 months or say up to a year maximum, look after these pets, whether they are being handled properly. And if not, if they are being given away, you really get that data out and some kind of work can be done on it.
Wonderful. I think that's a good suggestion, Smriti. Maybe with the help of FIAPO, you could, get all of them together. Though God knows getting animal welfare people on the same page is very, very, very tough. But all the best to you. Maybe you guys at FIAPO are the right ones to do it. Think of it. He's got a good suggestion there. And I will add to this saying that, like like in any other family, when one member of the family is being ill-treated, it is not very easy to get them out and go for a divorce. So first of all, try everything else to patch up. If not, of course, last option would always be that.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to add. See, in all the complaints that we keep receiving, I tell you, it is surprisingly 90% of the complaints that we receive are more than the animal abuse. It is a fight between two humans. Two families get into fights and then they take this out on animals. Whether it's a stray animal living outside your house or maybe your pet dog or something else, it's a people's problem which is slowly passed on to the animals. And very sad thing, but very, very difficult to handle also. Yeah. Do we have more questions?
Yeah. So Vijaya Kumari is raising hand. Vijaya Kumari, you can ask your question.
Yeah, Vijaya Kumari, please. You to unmute yourself. Vijaya? Yeah.
Sorry. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Trishna. I'm using my grandmother's phone. So I just had a question.
Sure.
There's a dog that has been suffering, and it's totally out of our hands that we're able to treat the dog, and it's out of our control. So what is it? And people from the hospitals or from the government hospitals or any kind of people who have to treat the dog, if they say that it's better to give up on the dog and you need to let it go, what is the right action that we need to take in that kind of scenario?
Okay, so I will repeat what my veterinary colleague, who happens to be the vice president of PFA, always says. She says, look at when an animal is brought to her. She's a veterinarian, so she says, anytime an animal is brought to me, I look at the future of that animal. What is the future going to be? So I'm going to treat her. She's going to get well and she'll lead a happy and full life. Fine, that's a wonderful thing to happen. So we put in all our efforts to treat them. But if suppose I was told that this animal is going to be paralyzed waist downwards, and with our best efforts also, she may not be able to move at all. Okay, and even if you do put her into some of those slings and all those new gadgets that we are getting, her quality of life may not be anywhere close to what she had earlier. What is the kindest thing to do? Would we rather put this animal out there? Because even the owners also, after a point, nobody can give full-time attention to a completely invalid animal. So in this case, my friend always suggests that you must euthanize the animal. You must have the guts to take this decision. It's a tough decision, but take it in the interest of the animal. So, but think well about it. So do your consultations, meet more than one vet, find out if no options are there. Put yourself in the animal's place and think, what is it that I would like to do? Would I like to remain like this, completely incapacitated, or would I like to leave? So think and then do it. But then euthanasia is an accepted norm of compassion in animal welfare. And all vets will testify to doing this. Yeah, Krishna?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, I think this was the last query. Most of the queries we addressed during the discussion also. Okay. So I think we should wind up now. And hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So I think we should wind up now. And so I'd like to thank you for the wonderful, wonderful session. It was very interactive and very vibrant, and you discussed each and every query with you tried to explain everything. And thank you to Mr. Joshi also for sharing his experiences, and it was very insightful. So thank you for that, ma'am. A really good session, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I thank you on behalf of FIAPO.
I would like to say one small thing at the end, that helping a needy, this is what we believe in PFA Hyderabad, that helping an animal in need is not any kind of social service or charity, but it is our social responsibility. So any animal in distress, whether physical or whether abuse, mental abuse, or any such thing, we must never ever forget that we are duty bound to help them as human beings. We are more intelligent, more evolved. I don't know whether we are evolved or not, but certainly more intelligent. So we are duty bound to safeguard and take care of our animal friends. So thank you. I enjoyed being with all of you. Jai Hind.
We also enjoyed, ma'am. Thank you. So one last time, I would like to tell everybody that please share your email addresses at smriti@fiapo.org. I'll share the content and the recording of the webinar with you all. Please share your email addresses. Thank you for today. Thank you for joining today. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
And one last point, if any one of you them wants to get in touch with us, you are welcome to share my email ID and phone number.
Okay. So I'll if anyone wants to get in touch with Vasanti ma'am, so I'll also share their email address and phone number. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time today.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, you too, ma'am. Thank you.